Okay, hi Richard. So I wanted to ask you, what's your attitude around governance? Tell me what you think in just quickly in 2 minutes in a special way that only you know how to.
Yeah, so my thoughts on, so we're talking about SharePoint governance, and I think what's really important is we recognize that governance is required. So you can call it a lot of different names, it really doesn't matter. And I think a lot of people get strung up or hung up on this idea of governance as a plan, like a document or a bunch of documents that come out of it, and it's not, right? It's this pattern of practice, it's this process, it's the people, the teams working together. And it's kind of like one of my clients once said this, in their environment, if you have one of my clients had said this, if you have nephews or nieces, you'll kind of get it. So in their environment, they basically had a whole lot of people doing SharePoint stuff, and he said it's kind of like mob ball. Now, if you've ever watched kids play soccer or football, they kind of run around the ball and they hit the opportunity to kick it, right? Yes. Yep. And it's just, there's no coordination, they're just having a blast, but there's no team, there's no structure to the team, there's no roles and responsibilities. The goalie is out on the field doing whatever half the time, right? Or not paying attention. So we don't want that in the enterprise. So all SharePoint is meant to do is to create those teams, right? The roles and responsibilities, the framework that gets us from where we are, our current state, to the desired future state. And so if I was to take that one step back, because I don't like this governance plan, if you think about it, if you're meeting on a regular basis, you have these teams, roles and responsibilities, you're going to create a whole lot of documents, like a lot of material, right? Not just one big governance plan. It's going to be a whole lot of little things like a site provisioning policy and a disaster recovery policy and all these other things.
Like a nice big PDF document?
Yeah, well, not that. Lots of little ones, right? Because then you have different owners, right? Roles and responsibilities, right? And so what happens is if you break it apart, then naturally a SharePoint site or something like that makes more sense than a plan, where we can actually use workflows and we can use version history and alerts and things like that. So that's, I guess, my thoughts on governance in a really short amount of time.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. So you were also talking about some of the risks around governance and why you'd want to...
Yeah, so there's a great analogy by Scott Jamieson, and Susan Hanley also uses it. It's a phenomenal one, where if you think of governance as like you have a road, and we all build roads in cities and everything like that, and it's this huge amount of infrastructure, right? You're basically investing a ton of money to build these roads. Well, if we didn't have signs, if we didn't have rules on those roads, how reliable, how useful, how effective would that investment be, right? Because it would get destroyed, it would be damaged, it would be deadly, people wouldn't use it, you get traffic jams, it would be clustered, so it wouldn't even serve its purpose. The purpose of the road is to get you from point A to point B, right?
Yeah.
So if we think of that in the same capacity I was saying earlier, then really what we're also thinking of governance often is these rules of the road, right? To help people, so speed limits, turn left here, don't go, drive on the correct side of the road, which we all know is of course on the left side of the road.
It's a bit confusing in Australia.
It's the toilets go backwards. Anyways, so that's important. Now, if you were to take a separate example, if I want to find the airport, right? That's not a rule, right? But it's a guiding thing. So we have guidance and we have rules. So the thing that says airport's this way, that's guidance telling me this is a possible destination I probably want to go to, or next exit has a gas station. That's useful information to me. And so that's those guiding scenarios rather than policies. And again, that's Scott Jamieson who's made that beautiful analogy. So maybe that'll help kind of in...
I think that's brilliant. Thank you very much.